In Europe's skies, Russian drones are testing radar systems. On the ground, they're testing something bigger, Europe's unity itself. The clash is now open. After weeks of tension, NATO insiders are asking, is Brussels overstepping its line? Ursula von der Leyen's call for a European drone wall, meant to defend the continent against Russian drones, has triggered alarm inside the alliance. NATO sees it as duplication. Brussels calls it deterrence.
One incident may be a mistake. 2 incidents a coincidence. But 3, 5, 10. This is a deliberate and targeted grey zone campaign against Europe. And Europe must respond. We must investigate every incident, and we must not shy away from attributing responsibility, because every square centimetre of our territory must be protected and safe. This is not random harassment. It is a coherent and escalating campaign to unsettle our citizens, test our resolve, divide our union, and weaken our support for Ukraine.
That call set off political aftershocks. Von der Leyen's so-called drone wall, once focused on Europe's eastern border, has now become a battleground over who controls Europe's defence. France and Germany call it too simplistic. Smaller nations back it, and NATO is watching warily. As criticism mounted, EU Foreign Chief Kaja Kallas was asked point-blank whether von der Leyen had gone too far. Kallas rejected that claim, saying the EU must propose boldly and refine ideas collectively. Her remarks were a clear defence of Ursula's leadership, while subtly acknowledging the recalibration of the plan inside the new defence roadmap.
Good. Thank you. Yes.
If you still have the time. Von der Leyen, I mean, the President of the Commission, she really went forward with the drone wall, the drone initiative, and then she was kind of reined in by her own Chancellor Merz and other heads of states. Do you think that she oversteps the boundaries, or that member states believe that she's overstepping some boundaries here?
I don't think so. I think it is always so that, you propose and, of course, the member states discuss. So what we have proposed has a lot of feedback which we take into account. And I think now, compared to the initial idea, to what is now in the roadmap, is exactly what I pointed out. It's not only regarding eastern flank, but it's actually about all the member states who have understood that this is also the risk that they might have. I mean, there are, of course, a lot of questions whether, is it really possible to put the defense up for every single meter? But this is also not the way it works in Ukraine. The percentage that you are able to take the drones down is very high, even with limited funding or limited possibilities. So this is what we can also do on the European level. I think what everybody has understood, the threat is there for every single member state, and we need to have a plan for this. Thank you very much.
At the NATO defence ministers' meeting, Secretary-General Mark Rutte fielded the question everyone wanted answered. Is the EU's drone wall helpful or duplicating NATO's work?
I can assure you that the EU and NATO are really working very well together. There is no doubling at all. Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, myself, the relevant commissioners, including Kubilius and of course Kaja Kallas and the others, we are all making sure that we make use of the strengths of the two organizations. And NATO is good at the hard stuff, which is the standard setting, the capabilities, the military side. And the EU has the enormous soft power of the internal market, the enormous soft power of making sure the money is there, making sure that the nations in the EU are aligned. And this combination is crucial to work together. It's one of the things the Russians try to divide. They are not successful. We are working very well together.
Drones and red lines. Even as Rutte assured unity, NATO was pressed on whether red lines were shifting after drone incursions across European skies. His message to Moscow, unmistakable: NATO will defend every inch, but only on its own command.
Well, there have been many questions about whether NATO is capable or not to make sure that if something happens in our airspace, we can act decisively if necessary. And we can. I can really assure you. The problem is this, that some are saying, not inside NATO, but sometimes in the public debate, that if a plane, a Russian plane, be it intentional or not, enters NATO airspace, that anyway you have to take it down. And I don't agree. I think you have to make sure that you are absolutely convinced whether yes or no it is posing a threat. If it is posing a threat, we can do everything needed to make sure the threat will not materialize. But if it is not posing a threat, a strong alliance, and NATO is so much stronger than Russia, we are infinitely more capable, then of course our role is to make sure that that plane drifted outside of its airspace into NATO airspace will gently be guided outside our airspace and then make clear to the Russians, stop doing this.
Brussels calls it coordination, NATO calls it complementarity, but the tension is real. Von der Leyen wants Europe to deter. Kallas wants Europe to adapt. Rutte wants NATO to command. And the drone wall, or drone defense initiative, now stands as the symbol of Europe's unfinished military autonomy. Everyone agrees on the threat. No one agrees on who leads the fight.